is rooted in relationships.
To primal
I'm self-sufficient and happy. I don't need a man to be happy.
Women need each other.
So this is where it goes off the rails. This is the point of the video. So he just made a statement like 2 + 2 = 4, and the answer to 2 + 2 = 4 is, I don't need a man. I'm sufficient. I'm a boss queen. This is crazy.
Why are women less happy now than ever before when they've been the most free, they have the most money, they have the most success? Why?
Listing the stats. Now listen to the answer.
Oh, there's a whole bunch
Because
of
they don't have men.
What they say, boys.
And she just told you. A therapist literally just told you in here.
Look at her face. She's calculating. Oh my god, I'm being attacked by objective reality and facts. This is literally oppression.
Before this,
Loading answer.
she just told you. All of their sadness is
Loading answer.
rooted in relationships.
To primal
I'm self-sufficient and happy. I don't need a man to be happy.
There it is. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need no man. Okay, guys, so we got some boss queens going on. Yeah, boss queens. That's really all I can say. They're just simply boss queens. These strong, independent women literally don't need no men. Fresh and Fit had a really interesting episode last night because they touched on a topic that they rarely ever mention, which is that social media is doling down the cognitive capabilities of women en masse. And I've talked about that in terms of the psychopathology that's pushed to the masses via social media, where people are taught to be resentful of any type of objective framework because objective frameworks hold people accountable. They are what judges you. They're the things you can't argue about reality. And as a result, of course, they invalidate any ideology that goes against the objective truth. And so this is what leftists find enraging. There is an undeniable problem which our culture has not been able to solve yet, which is with the emancipation of women and everyone having equality of opportunity. How do we correctly format and communicate with each other in a way that creates the optimal outcome for civilization? What I'm talking about is this phenomenon that I'm going to show you with this Fresh and Fit video that clearly shows how women are not equally equipped to engage with the objective world, and especially under the tyranny and subversion of the left-wing ideology. They're convinced and told that any form of coherence and objectivity, even in the form of masculinity, is inherently oppressive and corrupt and untenable. As long as that is a modus operandi for 50%, potentially 50% of the population, the threat to civilization is severe because it means that we cannot steer the ship in a way that is defined to be correct, and also correctness in and of itself is demonized, labeled unacceptable. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. This woman you're seeing sitting next to Myron is the oldest woman on the panel. She's the most masculine woman on the panel. There are some other things about her that are unique to her, which I won't say on YouTube, but she can't seem to accept basic truths as Myron speaks them, and I'm going to explain to you why that is.
Then thank you for proof. So
Myron just demonstrated that women initiate most divorces, women in relationships, and the data is very clear. He used facts and statistics to demonstrate this. And his conclusion is that men should be the ones with the leverage in the relationship, not women, because when women have the leverage, they tend to leave. This is the logical, coherent conclusion he's reached. Now listen to what she says.
who is it more important to have the advantage if we know that the consequences are that severe when women have the advantage?
That's your opinion. That's why I'm saying a difference.
Notice the response is opinion. So this is what I'm talking about. There is not really an ability to understand the objective world, to connect with the objective world. And even when women like this, I will use the term women here. I understand that there are women that are able to think logically, but there are most women are like this. When they even think about someone else reaching a conclusion, like men, for instance, having an idea, they assume that idea is based in emotion, that it was reached through emotion. But what happened here was Myron, for several minutes, made logical arguments based on numbers and math. And he said it out loud, so she can't even pretend as though it was emotion-based. And yet she still used the word opinion rather than fact. Because to women, everything's subjective. This is actually an existential crisis to civilization, is what I want people to understand about this.
Differentiate.
I have the numbers on my side. How's it my opinion?
If you want to call the stats, then that's cool. You know,
I just cited a bunch.
She just said, if you want to call the stats cool, but she's conflating it. I mean, that's like saying, if you want to say the answer is 17, cool, but if you want to say the answer is 5, that's also cool. No, the answer cannot be 17 and 5. It is either 17 or 5. So you can't, if you are equally accepting of the answer being either 17 or 5, that means your mental framework is broken. She's using the words opinion and fact interchangeably. This is a massive issue.
Bunch of them.
Yeah, I did.
I just cited a bunch of numbers as to why it doesn't work when women have the advantage. Right now in 2024, women have the most advantage they've ever had in relationships than ever before.
This mental error, this mental flaw gets repeated so many times, and yet people don't talk about it. Women want to be treated equally, and that's fine. I'm in favor of that. But we can't pretend as though men and women are the same. This is why we need a new model for how to make progress in civilization, because women are looking at the world in terms of everything subjective. There's no right and wrong. This is incoherent. This is factually measurably wrong. There are better and worse ways of doing things. There are right and wrong ways of doing things. And even in terms of a plan or a strategy or a narrative, there are better and worse ways of acting, because the world has right and wrong answers. So her not being able to recognize that is a literally fatal flaw that prevents her from making sense. It actually makes her delusional.
Why are marriage rates at the lowest? Why are women reporting the highest levels of depression?
Cool, you know,
I just
I'm
cited a
not
bunch of
beside
them.
it.
Yeah, I did.
I just cited a bunch of numbers as to why it doesn't work when women have the advantage. Right now in 2024, women have the most advantage they've ever had in relationships than ever before.
Now pay attention. As he's going to list these objective facts, she's still going to process the information in an emotional prism. This is the issue.
Why are marriage rates at the lowest? Why are women reporting the highest levels of depression? Why are
These are all objective facts.
one in 4 women taking anti-anxiety medication? Like, why are women less happy now than ever before when they've been the most free? They have the most money. They have the most success. Why?
Oh, there's a whole bunch
Because
of
they don't have men.
What they say,
And
boys.
she just told you. A therapist
they
literally just
don't
told you in here.
have
I didn't-
See, they can't cope with it because they're still looking at it through the emotional lens. He thinks he's trying to attack them or insult them. He's actually just making a statement like 2 + 2 = 4. But because they can't accept 2 + 2 = 4, that's actually a central flaw. Guys, this is a flaw that is behind a lot of the fall of the West. I'm going to be completely honest. People aren't talking about this. Women not being able, because women are 50% of the vote, women not being able to come to understandings of reality that make sense and construing objective reality as oppression, as corrupt, as, toxically masculine, this actually prevents them from reaching coherent conclusions. He just stated facts about reality and they can't understand it.
I talked to her before this.
Because
She just told you. All of their sadness.
And this problem is exacerbated. It's made worse by the fact that they call masculinity toxic. If they didn't call masculinity toxic, they'd be more likely to listen to what he's saying in a logical way.
Is rooted
It
in
goes
relationships.
back to primal
I'm self-sufficient and
biology.
happy. I don't need a man to be
Men
happy.
and women need each other.
So this is where it goes off the rails. This is the point of the video. So he just made a statement like 2 + 2 = 4, and the answer to 2 + 2 = 4 is, I don't need a man. I'm sufficient. I'm a boss queen. Think how insane that is. An admission that she's viewing the world in terms of pure, total incoherence. It's completely madness. This is crazy.
Why are women less happy now than ever before when they've been the most free? They have the most money. They have the most success. Why?
Listing the stats. Now listen to the answer.
Oh, there's a whole bunch
Because
of
they don't have men.
What they say,
And
boys.
she just told you. A therapist
they
literally just
don't
told you in here.
have
I didn't-
Look at her face. She's calculating. Oh my god, I'm being attacked by objective reality and facts. This is literally oppression.
Talked to her before this.
Because
Loading answer.
She just told you. All of their sadness is
Loading answer.
rooted
it
in
goes
relationships.
back to primal
I'm self-sufficient and
biology.
happy. I don't need a man to be
and
happy.
women need
There it is. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need no man. This is a central flaw in the way women are expected to exist.
each other. That's period.
I just feel like if you can't make yourself happy, you will never be happy in a relationship.
And so now she's just going to get owned on this incoherent emotional statement that she made for the next 15 minutes. And at the end of it, she's going to be proven wrong. All the women are going to have less respect for her. And so this is what happens every single time. They make an incoherent statement in response to somebody saying an objective fact. They get ridiculed. They get humiliated. This is what these podcasts are really good at. They showcase and put female delusion center stage and then eviscerate it. And then at the end, she's going to think to herself, okay, it wasn't my fault for being incoherent, for making no sense, for saying things that were illogical. Instead, you know what happened to me? I was oppressed with reality. This anti-reality sentiment held by women tells them they should not take accountability for their action. This is what I mean when I say we need a new theory, a new set of expectations for how women should exist. Because if you don't take accountability for your wrongness, then and you just claim victimhood, and then you're a part of the left-wing ideology, because then you think being a victim makes you a good person, you demonize objective reality, you end up being not only divorced from reality and delusional, you label truth itself as oppression. This is currently what feminism is doing to women.
You guys might not like it, but the man has to have the advantage in a relationship, and I just cited a bunch of reasons why. I'm still waiting for any of you to refute why a woman needs to have the advantage in a relationship.
They do not. They shouldn't.
I don't think anyone
I
has an
agree.
advantage.
I feel like the man should.
Look at, listen to the emotional response again. Listen to the emotional response. They haven't found a way to cope with reality.
He should be able to be the one to,
These people vote. This is a problem.
Exactly. He has to have the leverage. She has to feel like she has the best deal. The man has to be superior to the woman.
For thousands of years, the answer to this was just to not let women vote. But society has moved forward, and in order to move forward, we have to have a new model for the expectation. We have to have an expectation for women to be able to connect with reality. Because if not, then we're going to continue to see what we're already seeing. The West is completely falling apart. Oh my gosh, open borders because the idea of an objective border is discriminatory. Meanwhile, we have people being murdered every single day at the hands of illegal immigrants who came in undocumented and unchecked. And you still have women upset about the fact, not that the people are getting murdered, but that you point out that the murders are happening. Oh my gosh, are you discriminatory? It starts to border on completely evil and insane. The open border is actually a perfect example of this. If you poll men, 90% of men are in favor of having strict borders with laws, regulation, and people cannot just come and go freely. Women, on the other hand, think, oh my gosh, an objective standard? That reminds me of oppression because feminism and Marxism tell me that anything objective is corrupt and patriarchal, which is by default toxic. You see, one group of people is able to think logically, and the other side just jumps off a cliff and goes insane. That's what we're seeing here.
Woman. If the guy's pedestalizing the girl, she's eventually going to get bored, and when she gets bored, she will fucking leave. Women get bored in relationships way.
And the more you use logic to just demonstrate that they're wrong, instead of accepting that they're wrong, because Marxism tells them not to take accountability, what they do instead is they think, I'm being victimized. It's extremely perverse, this might be hard to understand, but this is actually what goes on in their head. I've spent a lot of time around these leftists. I know how they think. I was immersed in their culture for a long time. I've been around them. When you start to use logic and reason to disagree with them, the response isn't to debate ideas. It's to say, I'm being victimized by the truth. And so this is how the degenerate female psyche operates in these moments.
Faster than men do. Men aren't going anywhere if the girl's good, bro. I'm telling you.
Why?
The girl cheats and I know it's over. The guy cheats, I know it's not over. Who needs to have the advantage? The man. Common sense, man. Common sense.
As he continues to make sense, though, they view him as an oppressor.
You guys just
Pay attention. This is really interesting.
don't like hearing it because women lack critical thinking skills, to be honest with you. This is why I said earlier, you guys lack critical thinking skills. I'm telling you guys objective fact. I give you guys the numbers. I give you guys the stats. She's still shaking her head like, I don't agree. It doesn't matter.
Right. The matrices of agreement isn't based on logic, though. That's, again, the issue. I've explained it many times.
You agree with it,
You're
what you
giving
don't.
me.
What I'm telling you is the truth is,
I have to
when
take
men
your
have the
opinion?
advantage, women are more happy in relationships, period. They need to feel like they have the best fucking deal that they can get because that's just how women are.
It's basic biology. It's basic biology. Women need men.
There's a psychologist therapist on the panel. That's her, and she agrees with everything Myron says because she's actually studied the social science and she's not thinking emotionally like all these other women. But listen to the response even to the woman saying it. This is how you know there are issues really with reality.
To protect them and feel.
Listen to the resentful response. No, I don't need men. Again, she's just going to get owned for that. She's just going to, because she's wrong, because it's so easy to demonstrate that she's wrong, they're easily going to refute her. And then at the end of it, she's going to think I was victimized. But it's because she was delusional.
Women need men to feel safe and protected.
Leave it at that.
feel
Don't
like
say
if
to
men
survive.
wasn't here-
I am fine.
This woman in a wig thinks that she doesn't need men to keep the electricity running, to keep food delivered to the stores, to keep the infrastructure running, to protect the borders against foreign invaders, to mine oil and process resources and literally uphold civilization. But she hasn't thought about any of that. Instead, what she thinks about is, I have an emotional response to being told that reality exists. You see, reality's up here and she can't even get to level 1.
You kind of do need us to survive
I'm
too.
saying on a primal level.
I'm self-sufficient. I'm doing fine. If I don't want to reproduce it, I'm doing just
All right,
fine.
question,
as
look.
is.
I'm saying on a
Look.
primal.
Question, your clients, who are they?
What?
Who are your clients? Your clients.
This is a side hustle. I work for Kate.
Oh, and then so they start by owning her by saying, okay, yeah, literally men pay your bills. So it's insane. These women are divorced from reality. But let's move on.
In the beginning, did I?
For security.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
I said I
Number
don't need
two.
a man to provide. I need for security. I said that.
Okay, because you said you don't need a man to survive, right?
Thank
and
you.
then number two, if the lights turn off tomorrow,
Yep.
you would be fucked. You would,
Listen to the logical statement. He's talking in terms of first principles. It's so simple. Everyone understands. Dude, all men understand what he's saying. If the electricity stopped working, you'd need men to fix it. Now listen to her response.
need a
my
man to
lights-
protect
Unless
you.
you got
No,
a man.
Because-
I work for Kate Spade. That's a whole woman paying my bills.
Bruh,
Salad.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. If the lights went off, I work for a Bossqueen company. They turn the lights back on. It's insane, dude. This is crazy. These people vote.
No. The lights went out.
I'm talking about
Lights went out.
from a hardcore survival standpoint.
Oh, it's so great. I work for a Bossqueen company.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, you might say I don't need men to survive, but what you
Yeah.
don't understand is that men keep the
The name on the checks that I get for being paid for my work has a woman's name on it. This is the reason why I'm fine.
lights on,
Yep.
the police force is men that keeps you alive, the military, etc. Like we live in such a civilized world, right? We live in such a
It's very, very arrogant, too. We can't ignore the fact that it's extremely arrogant and narcissistic to ignore the fact that these massive operations like the fire department, the police, the military aren't the reason you're allowed to exist. If they didn't exist, you would have no chance. Society's gotten very easy and soft for a lot of people, myself included. I'm very happy to live in a world this civilized, but I appreciate it. I'm aware of the infrastructure. I know exactly how things work because I think logically. These women are narcissistic. They think that if my electricity went off, I would just keep getting checks signed by a woman, so that would bring my electricity back on. I'm a boss queen. The problem is that it's actually delusion. It's not connected with reality. This is the problem. They've demonized reality itself. We need a new way for these women to interface with truth. And for thousands of years, that has been masculinity. I still think masculinity is the most sophisticated apparatus women have for interfacing with reality, but women have demonized masculinity to the point where they're just hurting themselves. I mean, by the year 2030, 50% of women are going to be single and childless, and we know that that is the predicator for misery. The most unhappy group of people on the planet are women 40 to 50 years old that are single and childless. They account for the most number of people on antidepressants. Right now, 1 in 4 women are on antidepressants because feminism is making them miserable. Meanwhile, men are just winning because they're competing with each other, and the ones that win go to the top and have selection for all the women. So feminism is ironically giving these men all the leverage and making women miserable. This is why we need a new mental framework, because the women are just thinking, oh my gosh, well, this is literally oppression. And they're just making themselves lose more and more and more out of resentment and spite for objective reality, which they label an oppressive force.
Men wasn't here. We need protection.
I'm speaking.
Thank you.
I'm speaking.
Amen.
We live in such a civilized world that you guys forgot that it's men that keep you guys safe in the
That's
first place.
facts.
Because
100%.
you guys really can't do anything if a guy attacks you. Realistically speaking.
So again, he's owning her, and rather than admit that she's wrong, rather than admit that she said, you know what, okay, fine, I did misspeak, I do need the police, I do need the fire department, I do need electricity to survive, I do need food from the store that gets delivered from the guy in the truck and the man that farmed the food. You know what, I misspoke. Instead, what she says is, I could fight off a man.
I'm just being honest with you,
you just
that if someone
thought that.
attacked you on the street, you would hope a man will come and save you because you can't physically fight a man.
Look at her emotional face. She thinks that he's talking emotionally. They don't understand that the world is built on objective parameters. And whenever they're confronted with that reality, they call it oppression. This is a perfect crystallized example. Pay attention.
That 49 in my purse. I don't need to fight you.
So her response to you need electricity to survive and men are the reason society is the way it is and it's safe and civilized is I have a gun in my purse. Think about that type of response.
Bro.
Bow, bow, bow. Suck your teeth all you want. I got a gun in my back seat and I got a gun in my purse and one under my mattress. I don't need no.
Look at how delusional this is. Of course, we got to keep in mind, most of the women at this table aren't this delusional. They're like half as delusional. But this woman still accounts for a lot of the feminine psychopathology.
Hey, yo, listen. Can I say something?
Look, man.
Can I say something?
If you're dealing with someone that's like not an idiot, he's gonna hit you one time and you're gonna fall on the floor before you can even get your gun
Never
out
will
your
happen
purse.
because I'm not an idiot.
Okay, see, this is total illusion. Women actually don't understand how much stronger men are than them. I've explained this to women before. It's like, you don't understand just how tight I can squeeze my fist. You don't even understand like these very simple things about reality. And it's actually dangerous because if women believe this delusion, think that if I admit that men are stronger than me, then I'm literally giving into oppression rather than admitting reality, then they could get hurt. They could put themselves in a bad situation. Oh, I can fight a man because I'm a boss queen. A lady signs my checks at work.
That was before you can even get your gun out your purse, man. Like I'm trying to explain
You don't watch
this
your
to
surroundings, Myron? If you were a girl, if you was walking...
Bro, it's delusional. A 15-year-old boy could physically dominate 99% of women, much less a full-grown man.
Your dog at night, you're not watching your surroundings.
I'm trying to tell.
Testosterone is completely OP. Testosterone is overpowered. This is the way the world works. But again, he could be saying 2 + 2 = 4 right now, and she would still be disagreeing with him because that's toxic and oppressive. This is the problem with the purely anti-reality, emotional, feminine framework that these women have.
Tell you that I used to work in law enforcement with women that are way more trained.
Look at her face. She can't cope. I'm going to full screen this. Look at her face right now. She's been owned on 3 levels at this point. At first she said, I don't need no man. She made another delusional statement. She made another delusional statement. And now she's here.
You don't watch your surroundings, Myron? If you were a girl, if you was walking your dog at night, you're not watching...
Do women understand how delusional they sound when they talk this way?
Your surroundings.
I'm trying to tell you that I used to work in law enforcement with women that are way more trained than you are,
and I'm a woman,
everything, and they would get fucked up by a less trained male. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And this is the thing.
Look at her face. She's actually struggling. This is so interesting. She's actually struggling to cope with truth.
I'm trying to tell you that I used to work in law enforcement with women that are...
She's literally talking to a former special agent with Homeland Security, explaining to her that her gun in her purse isn't going to protect her against a man that wants to do her harm.
Way more trained than you are,
and I'm a woman.
And they would...
And her response is, in the middle of it, this is so interesting because it's exactly in keeping with the identity politics of the left. I'm a woman. What she said was, I'm a woman. Because she thinks that he's making an argument from identity politics. It's the same type of fragmented, broken worldview that makes her think that he's only talking emotionally rather than logically. So she thinks that her saying, I'm a woman, is a response or rebuttal to him saying all these logical statements. This is really, really interesting.
Would get fucked up by a less trained male. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And this is the thing. Girls like you guys are delusional. You can't fight a man, period. And if you really wanted to attack you, it's going to come from behind you, hit you one time, you're fucking done, bro. You're not going to get your gun out.
I was going to fight him, Myron.
It's just like, yo, you got...
And now she's... okay. And now she's gotten so owned that all the women are looking at her like she's crazy. And so what she does is, rather than admit truth, she starts to demonize him and try to criticize his masculinity. In a moment, she like questions if he's attracted to women. It's really, really bizarre and immoral.
I'm just saying, I'm more capable to protect myself. I might not win, but I am more capable to put up a fight.
Look at this delusional, like, insanity. What do you mean? You're not gonna win. That is...
If you don't win, that's what matters. You die.
I'm not dying.
There's no respawn. This is a Call of Duty. This is a Call of Duty.
So she's insane. Obviously, she's insane. And by the end of this clip, Myron makes a comment about how a certain group of women is especially masculine and likes to deny reality and is very hard-headed. And the panel takes, then they start debating a whole nother topic. That's not really the point of this video. If you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment in the comment section. But this type of delusion must be confronted. It's very, very bizarre and insane. We see the same type of delusion, though, manifested in this, anti-masculine sentiment where people are literally gleefully on the left, gleefully celebrating the idea of an incompetent, overweight woman who's accomplished nothing, stealing the property from an impressive masculine billionaire. Not just stealing the property, stealing the symbols, literally golden skyscrapers. Oh, we disagree with him. He embodies how we're wrong. We're judged by the objective frameworks that made him impressive. Let's take away the symbols while we're incompetent of his impressiveness. It's the exact same resentment for reality you just saw in that other video. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff, guys. This was a cool video. This is the best part of my day, guys, being able to bring you analyzed truth. I like reading your comments, even the delusional destroyed freaks, because at least you're watching, at least you're, interpreting some coherence. Maybe you could become saved, who knows. If you've made it this far in the video, though, be sure to subscribe and let me know what you think about this video. I know a lot of you are going to get what's going on here.